Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. So I woke up this morning, I filled up my water bottle, and I dropped it, all over the floor. That's how my day started, and I just had to laugh about it. Kelsey, thank you so much for being here. We're going to have a fun time. You are a pirate now, and I've actually been on your show. Woohoo! And we're going to be talking a little bit about live streaming, having fun, living in New York, and also just life in general. So thank you so much for Kelsey for being here. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me, Russ. It's such an honor to become a pirate this morning, and no better way to start off the day than to do a little live streaming with a great fellow streamer. So I'm happy.
Yeah. So you are a customer success specialist at Streamyard, which is really one of these things that has evolved over the last couple of years. So walk us through your backstory and how you imagine this position and what got you involved in live streaming.
Yeah, it was kind of a twist of fate, if you will. I mean, the pandemic really changed things for a lot of us, and me included. Mm-hmm. I have a performing background. I'm an actor and a singer, and I recently graduated from NYU with a degree in acting. So that was my full-time vision plan, all of it. And of course, I graduated in May, right into the middle of this pandemic where there's right. Not everything's shut down. All of my theaters are shut down. Everything's sort of in this holding phase, and where everyone was trying to figure out, okay, how do we move forward? And specifically being an artist, it was sort of all right, how do I both make a living so I can support myself, but also how do I stay connected with my artistic industry in some way? So live streaming really became that thing for me, where it was the way to stay connected with people and the way to create art in this time, since we have to be distanced, is through live streaming. And so the job at Streamyard was really sort of a dream come true that I never knew I had, I never thought that I would be doing anything really online. I never considered myself a technical person. And now I'm working in tech support, so things have really gone in a different direction than I was expecting. But I think it's so beautiful, and it's been so amazing to be on the Streamyard team, because we've been growing so fast. And I was a part of the original, I think, 10. So that it was just, it's so magical to be a part of such a fast moving startup that's giving so many people a solution to stay connected during this time.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, because, I started radio, television, broadcast background years ago, and, have seen it go from having to have a truck and an engineer and a satellite dish and electric, internet, phone connections and ISDN lines and all this technology, to pulling up my phone and live streaming to YouTube and being the media. It's I taught these classes years ago. It's called "You Are the Media." You have a gift, you have a message, you have a brand, and it's developed over time, and part of the pirate broadcast was as a result of that, because in the FCC world, licensing a radio station, if you broadcast without a license, you were considered a pirate broadcaster. Right. And so the pirate motif and everything kind of goes along with the same struggle. It's hey, we're out here doing our thing, figuring out what we're going to do. Acting is not really happening right now the way it usually would in the theaters.
Right.
And so let's figure something out. And live streaming has been such a gift to so many people. It's amazing how much it's grown.
Yeah.
So StreamYard has grown. Oh, I can't even I don't even know how much it's grown.
I mean, I don't even have the numbers, but like it's a lot, you know? Like we started with just thinking about my job. So I started in early April.
Uh-huh.
And so that was sort of like the beginning of everyone was sort of like scrambling for solutions.
Yeah.
And the chat, because I was working the tech support chat, it was like pretty slow. You know, we didn't have that many emails. It was sort of like, you know, chill. And then all of a sudden, you know, you get to July, August, and I'm doing the chat and I'm talking to my supervisor. I'm like, we need more people. Like, I can't do all of this, you know? And so just in terms of that, like seeing how many people were joining the Streamyard community and loving it was just so great, and it just blew up. So
well, I love Dan and Gage on their town halls on Sunday, and it's
yeah,
really about consistency, because they've really, you know, put it out there. They got over 100 episodes out now, and consistency is really important. And you have a show as well. You have a couple of shows, don't you?
I do, yeah. So every Thursday I go live with Dana for Streamyard Spotlight, and which is where I met you, Russ.
Yeah.
And we feature a Streamyard user who we think is using Streamyard in a unique way, and we sort of just talk to them about you know, how Streamyard has changed their live streaming game, I guess, and how they use Streamyard to sort of reach a broader audience and connect with their audience. Because live streaming, at least what I like to focus on in terms of live streaming, is how are we staying connected? Because that's the point, you know, especially during this time when we're all mostly in our houses still. So we have that show Thursday nights, which is really fun. Tonight, where there's an episode at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I have my personal show called Avenue A, where I interview guests from the artistic world, mostly actors and directors and producers and people from my background. And I interview them about acting, networking in the arts industry as a whole. And I created that live stream back in May, right after graduating, because I was freaking out about, you know, leaving my my institution, my school. And we were doing, you know, virtual online classes for the last few months of it. And I graduated like in my living room, and it was all very unsettling and not how I expected it to go. But I said, okay, you know, like you just have to roll with the punches, and like, what can you do to stay connected with your people? And at this point, I was actually in Portland still, too, with my mom. That's where I quarantined for the majority of the pandemic. So I felt even more, you know, far away from everyone in the city. So I created this platform to you know, just have guests on and like pick their brains and learn from them. And I also wanted to create an accessible resource for other young artists who maybe, you know, didn't get to go to acting school or don't have a lot of training. You know, I wanted to create a free, accessible resource for them. So that, you know, because we're all trying to just do our best, you know, and make it right into this this industry, this arts industry. So it's been a really amazing journey, and I think I have like almost 30 episodes so far. We've gone live almost every Friday since May. So
that's fantastic.
Big project, yeah, but it's been really fulfilling, and I've had some amazing, like, really gracious guests on. So
are you originally from Portland?
I am, yeah. I grew up in Portland on a 10-acre farm, which is so crazy because now I live in New York City, so it's a total shift.
It's funny because I had a 10-acre farm in Portland as well.
What?
Yeah, you know where Cornelius Pass is?
Yes.
I had 10 acres right out there. I moved there in 86 to 95. I lived there.
That's exactly. Cornelius Pass is like, we're on. Maybe I should say it on live. We'll talk about this because I think we might have been neighbors, Russ. That's crazy.
Yeah, Rock Creek Road. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Small world, folks. This is the power of live streaming and the ability and the opportunity to make connections.
Yeah.
And also, I used to work in New York as well. So.
Oh, did you? When did you live in New York?
I never actually moved to New York. I used to travel there on a regular basis when I was in advertising back in the 90s. So
Got it.
We had an office in Manhattan. I'd go there, support it. But it's
Nice.
the first time I paid, I think $12 for a 6-ounce Coke or something like that.
That sounds about right. I
was shocked. It's like, what?
I'm still shocked. I'm still like, I've lived here for 5 years. I will still go and buy something and just be flabbergasted at the price.
Yeah. Well, that's so funny because, you know, what art does is it brings people together in a unique way because we can be have so much of a diversity in our background and so many different directions, and we still can come together on a topic. And I always believe, Kelsey, on the onset, if you have a conversation long enough with anyone, you'll discover these little threads and connections, and it's always there. And it's just a matter of having the conversation long enough because we're all connected. That's what I believe. So
I think that's such a nice outlook, Russ. Like that. And I saw that when you came on Streamyard Spotlight, just the way you were talking about, you know, what you do, your live stream, you know, how you develop it, how you stay connected with your audience. I was just blown away at your, like, you're so kind and your perspective is so inclusive. And that struck me because I think that's what we need right now. You know, like, I just can't stress enough, like, how important the connection is because it is so scarce. And like, I take that so seriously. It's been so hard for me, like to adjust even now after 10 months or whatever of adjusting to this new sort of lifestyle. It's still hard to like get up and just be with myself literally all day. I'm used to being surrounded by actors and artists and that energy, you know?
Yeah.
And I definitely took it for granted. So it's so lovely to connect with people like you who have that objective, you know, to just be inclusive and connect with people and find that thread of connection with every person.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. Russ is also in the house. Good morning. Best way to start the day with the pirate broadcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Mike Baker's here from Florida. Good morning, pirates. Thank you so much for being here. It's Russ is actually in Oregon. He's down by Salem as well. So interesting way to take control of life and doing awesome things through live streaming. That's fantastic. So it's really important. Yes, a lot of innovation in the internet online community. And then Darlene Silver Fox Talks, Morning Pirate Community.
Hey, Darlene.
She's in from Florida. So she says, she's going on to say, made the best of it. Great attitude while dealing with harsh reality, Kelsey.
Thank you.
So absolutely beautifully captured in real time. That's fantastic.
Oh.
And the producer of the show, here's the show, because, you know, I have my own producer here, is Tracy. So awesome. Good morning, Russ and Kelsey. I've been using StreamYard for over a year. Love it. Yes. Fantastic. Yes.
Love it.
And Liz Lawless, another pirate. Always great conversation. Yes. Connection in less than 6 degrees, more like 1 or 2.
Yeah. That's so true.
And Sarathi says, hi, Russ and Kelsey. Good evening, morning. He's on the other side of the world.
Hey, Sarathi.
Adjustable and adaptable. And Kelsey, you know, one of the things that I think is really special about StreamYard is the simplicity. You know, I started out in OBS and, you know, and using some other larger broadcasting tools that, you know, we could nerd out about. However, the reality is that the simplicity allows the creativity to take place in a lot of respects because, you know, how you use something with its limitations or its parameters gives us a lot of opportunity to you know, investigate what we can do with that. You know, it's like playing an instrument or, you know, I was a musician growing up. So it's like, okay, you're a singer. Yeah, I'm a musician. Yeah. There's a certain capacity we have to master where we are with our skills. And so it's important to understand what those things are and push the boundaries, but live in where we are and make the most of it. And
Absolutely.
StreamYard is just a wonderful tool for doing that. So if you're
Yeah.
not connected to Kelsey, go connect with her. Tell her you're a pirate and you want to connect and make sure that,
please. Yeah,
So
Russ, I think you're so spot on. Like for me, like I mentioned before, I'm not a tech person per se. Like I've never considered myself to be ultra techie or really interested in figuring out, more advanced programs or anything really.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so drawn to StreamYard, because it's so easy to use. And, it takes a little bit to figure everything out. But once you do, you can really focus in on what you're trying to create. And that's the point, like I think it's so scary for a lot of people to even broach the idea of moving their creativity online, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure out these softwares, right? Like that's why I never did any YouTube. Like I literally didn't do anything before diving into StreamYard, and now I'm all about it. But it's so like non-overwhelming that, I think it's such a great solution for so many artists.
Well, and now I actually am kind of part of the team. I'm a remote broadcaster on the StreamYard team. So I'm on the website, as a resource. Yeah. I got my banner on my LinkedIn profile, and
that website is so good too.
Oh, it's really phenomenal what we can do and how we can help and who we can help. I had a conversation yesterday with somebody that's been in radio background a long time, and people don't realize how expansive we have an opportunity to grow right now. And I'm thinking that, if your skill set is interviewing people, there's a place for that. We could put together a show on StreamYard, grab a few people that are interested in sharing their message and their voice, and have a moderator as a narrator or a host and interview people and bring that to light. And, just like you're doing with Avenue A, you're bringing creatives together and you're talking about the situation and what it is and where we can go with it. Yeah. And I think that dialogue is so critical right now, and how we can pursue the next conversation. So what do you see in the future in the next 6 months for StreamYard? We didn't really mention the acquisition yet, but so it's
right. So we recently got acquired by a super awesome virtual events platform called Hoppin.
Yeah.
And we are in the midst of sort of, transferring everything and doing the merge, which has been really exciting. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I think it'll be super awesome for the future of StreamYard, because the partnership just feels just like that, like a partnership, like we really at StreamYard are so insistent that we keep it consistent, right? Like that's what we're all about, is stability at the platform. So for the time being, it just seems like everything partnering with Hoppin is going to bring just a lot of great things for our community. So that's really awesome. In terms of the future of live streaming, the next 6 months, I've actually been pondering this recently, because we're at this point in the pandemic where it's been okay, like we thought maybe we would be back to normal by last summer, or normal, right? Who knows what that is anymore? But we thought maybe, okay, March through June, maybe we'll be back, or we'll be back by the fall or whatever. And here we are, like January, mid-January, and we're not sure, when there's no timeline for that. So it's definitely hard for me to even like make guesses or make plans or any of that. And it's sort of a strange place to be in. But I do think that, I know I'm really excited about the virtual space. Like a lot of us have figured out how to connect virtually. Almost everyone, dare I say, knows how to at least, get on a Zoom call at the very minimum. And a lot of people are doing a lot a lot more. So I think I see hybrid events being the thing, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm really eager to get back into in-person spaces, just in terms of theater. But the beautiful thing that live streaming and just the virtual space can bring is more accessibility, right? Like that's been a huge topic in the theater community, is just the lack of accessibility, specifically with Broadway, right? Like it's very exclusive in the sense of, I mean, you can only watch the shows if you're A, physically in New York, B, can afford a ticket that's sometimes upwards of like $700, $800, right? And that just narrows your audience. You know, it's not accessible for most people. So I think part of the beauty of Broadway was in the past was just how maybe that exclusivity was part of the draw for people, right? Like it's like, oh, you know, it's so special to be able to go to a Broadway show, which I think is true, but I don't really see the point of theater if you can't reach the people who would be impacted by it, you know? And I think that live streaming could be a solution for that. You know, if you do come back to normal, and then you can incorporate this live streaming element that can reach people all over the world. I'm really excited about that, and I think I hope that that's the way forward. I don't see, you know, the virtual space disappearing completely, because I think we have found something really exciting, and there's a lot of developments to come. I think, I don't know what they are, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, things are gonna, we've already come this far, you know, in terms of technology and all that. So,
Well, think of this, Kelsey, and from an artist's eye. If you have right now, they're moving from green screen background to micro LEDs that are creating this incredible vista and background where the lights and the shadows aren't being tinted by the green or the blue backgrounds. And then you could have a stage set with multiple camera setups where you're actually acting on a virtual stage, and then have an audience that is taking out from the scenes from what sports is doing now. My nephew is doing like 360 video camera work for the Tennessee Titans.
Super cool.
I mean, and you think about the acquisition of the stage, virtual backgrounds, actors, and then, you know, 3D multiple 360 cameras or something along those lines, where you can see different angles and see different people in different cuts at a certain time in the acting playground, and how that could morph into or be available for people in different time zones, cities, etc. And then how we could put that together with AI in a full production. So the opportunities are endless. From my perspective, it's just a matter of how creative and how aggressive do you want to get with the technology versus the real person on the stage acting. So
right. Yeah, and I think the one thing that's just so hard to duplicate or recreate, I guess, is my favorite part of being in the theater, unfortunately. But it's that connection that you feel from having hundreds of people all in the same space, all experiencing the same thing at the same time, right? And yeah, that's the mystery to me, like how, because there is so many solutions to and innovations that I think that are going to happen that are really amazing. But at the same time, you know, I'm just like, how do we recreate that level of connection? Because that visceral feeling of being on both sides, right? Like in the audience and experiencing this piece of art with hundreds of other people who are experiencing the same thing in the same moment, right?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, being on the stage and both experiencing your scene partner or the show you're doing, but also the reaction of the audience, like that is so invigorating to me. And there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So
yeah. Well, same with the musician, you know, performing music in front of 3,000 people in a small venue that, you know, brings a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know, whether it could be 50 people, it doesn't matter what the number is.
Right.
It's still that energy that you cannot replace by interacting live and having the audience or being in the audience and having that feeling of like, this is a shared experience for us. And that's, you know, going to the movie is somewhat similar. However, it's never the same when you're just watching it on a, you know, live streaming it on YouTube or something like that. It's not the same experience. So, and you're spot on. You know, I don't know that we'll ever get to the point where immersion in the audience will be duplicated on the screen.
Yeah. I'm not sure. But you know, if we can get to a point where we can do hybrid events, you know, there is some hope for at least sometimes being able to be in person, which, you know, that's enough for me. Just the possibility of being able to do that. Right now, I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Well, I think it's so important that we live in the now. We live right now and do what we can. Yeah, Tracy says, I just want to bring this up. Tracy says it was a breeze after using OBS and Hangouts for a couple of years. It's so much more user-friendly. StreamYard, talking about StreamYard.
Thank you for saying that, Tracy. I concur.
Yeah. Yes. Mike Baker says inspiration and imagination. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing up accessibility too, darling. It's really important. And yes, engagement with the audience. It's just really, you know, being an actor and a musician or any kind of creative, it's really, you just can't replace that feeling.
No.
You just can't replace that feeling.
No.
However, we can create new feelings with different platforms like StreamYard. And I really encourage everyone that's out there, think about how you have been sharing your message. Think about how you can create content that is meaningful, because we're developing legacy right now. It's a digital legacy of what we're doing, what we're creating, and what we imagine and what we're living through right now today.
Yeah.
And so it's so important, Kelsey, to articulate this, and I think continue to pursue Avenue A and other adventures like that, and highlight, you know, streamers on Thursdays and anything we can do to support the pirate community and you know, and virtual events. You know, I'm working with some virtual events and some camera setups and some amazing things. And it's really, you know, we're living in a very unique time in history where technology and availability and the internet is creating a lot of new dimensions for us. So
yeah, dimensions is a good word. Totally. I think a lot of people are pushing the limits of their own understanding of technology just out of sheer necessity, which is really cool. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
It's very cool. I want to make sure that people understand what's a good way to actually make a connection with Kelsey and you on your shows and what's taking place. There's a place that you like to hang out and connect, or is it Facebook, YouTube?
Yeah, I'm mostly, YouTube is great because that's where I stream all my Avenue A shows, and I also post, you know, personal artistic content on there, some songs, and, you know, whenever I'm feeling inspired, I'll throw a video on there. So my YouTube is just my first and last name, Kelsey Bentz. And then on Facebook, I'm also Kelsey Bentz. And then Instagram is where I spend most of my energy, and I have my personal Instagram, which is @KelsBentz. And then if you want to follow Avenue A, it's @Avenue A Live. So I would love to connect with you all. Yeah, so it's all about.
I love it. That's what it's all about, is connection. And right now it's more important than everything else. So any last minute legacy tips that you can leave with us, Kelsey, from the inside of StreamYard, and little nuggets of knowledge that you've learned in last year that you can actually articulate to keep people motivated this year, this fine day?
I think what I've learned, my motto that I developed for 2020, which is now in the past, obviously, but I think that it still stands true, is that, we've been thrown a lot of stuff in the last year, and we're still here, right? And so the motto I developed was anything goes in 2020. Like whenever an idea would come up, or I would think of something, or an opportunity would present itself that in the past I would have been like, oh, I'm not interested for this reason, or, I can't fit it in my schedule for this reason, or, I was just hesitant to it. Last year, I was just like, you know what? Like everything's changed and anything goes. And so I ran with some ideas and some, content that I probably never would have pursued in the past. Simply because it just felt like in this time of shift, it comes with a lot of pain, right? And a lot of discomfort. But you can also sort of ride that wave in a way that can benefit you and your community, I think. So I'm trying to continue with that mindset and bring that into 2021 as well, because it's a new year, but we're in the same moment, and especially with some current events that have been happening, it's like, we're still in this moment. So I think like just keeping your mind open to the possibility of ideas that you might not have considered before, and just trying to pursue them, I think with Avenue A, it scared the shit out of me when I first started it. And I had some people in my life who were like, you just have to start. Like, you just have to start.
Just start.
I'm one of those people who wants to like make everything perfect before I present it. And if I hadn't had those people who were like, just get it out there, I probably would have taken a lot longer to debut the first episode. And once I got it rolling, everything fell into place and I felt so much more comfortable. So that's what I would like to leave.
Mike Baker says, yes, do it before talking yourself out of it.
Yes, that's the thing.
To overcome desperation through inspiration. So
yeah.
Kelsey, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you and talk about things that are going on around us, and just kind of observe what we can do and how we can feel and where we go with it, because it's really important that we share these experiences and learn from each other, reach out, engage, make sure that you're connected with Kelsey and the pirate community. Start a conversation. It's very simple. And as always, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. Thank you so much for being here, Kelsey. We'll be in touch in future episodes when we can have new things to talk about.
Yay. Thank you so much, Russ. It was seriously an honor and a pleasure. And I look forward to connecting with you further and connecting with the pirate community. Thank you for all those comments, everyone. They're so lovely. And it's great to know that y'all are out there hanging out with us. So thank you.
Well, and you can check out Kelsey later on today. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? It's
at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's on YouTube. Just search StreamYard and the show will pop right up.
Yeah. I think I have an episode over there too.
Yes. And rewatch Russ's episode, because that was a good episode.
All right, everyone. As always, kindness is cool and smiles are free. So you go and enjoy your day. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.